Hello everybody and welcome to this best build guide for Gardevoir. I am Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw! Full disclosure, the yeehaws are getting worse. I called my doctor and he said, there's nothing they could do. It's terminal. Very sad for me, but not sad for you. Today we're going to talk about Gardevoir, the newest Pokemon added to Pokemon Unite. We're going to go over Gardevoir's moveset, the best builds for Gardevoir, and we're going to see some gameplay footage of this beautiful Pokemon in action. So beautiful. I'm not going to leave my wife for it. Why does everyone think I'm going to leave my wife for it? Taking a look at Gardevoir's progression here, it goes Routes, Kirlia at level 6, and Gardevoir finally at level 10. Its moveset to start, Confusion or Teleport. Confusion is the obvious choice here. Teleport is great, it's a little dash and it powers up your boosted attack, but Confusion gives you the ability to take down wild Pokemon faster and hopefully steal them from your enemies. It has great range and goes through enemies as well as obstacles. It doesn't do anything outside of that, but it's a nice little bit of damage. Teleport is just as advertised. You warp to a designated area, and it also increases the damage dealt by one of your basic attacks. You can see here every time I use it, my attack becomes boosted on my next attack, which is nice. It also teleports through obstacles, but the range is small, so you have to kind of finagle it, but it can go over these walls pretty easily. It's just a really good early game escape. Now we're really getting into it. Level 6, you get to choose between Psyshock and Future Sight, and honestly, both are really great. I'm having a hard time deciding which one I like more. Psyshock attacks a designated area 3 times in short succession, and it actually moves around with your Pokemon. It's surprisingly powerful, and I actually think very simple to land all the hits with it. If you do land all 3 hits, you're going to have a larger damage output than you would with Future Sight. You can see in this clip how I basically set it where I am, and I use it to dance around this Lucario. Also, the casting range on it is incredibly far, so all you need to do is stay in range of where you want your enemies to be hit, and you're going to do a ton of damage. The other option is Future Sight, and Future Sight is just so amazing. I'm not going to leave my wife for it, but I'm just saying it's so good. So you set a delayed explosion. When the explosion hits, it reduces the move's cooldown. Also, when this move gets upgraded, if you hit with it, the cooldown is immediately refreshed. It's nuts. This move also has massive range, so you will pick off enemies that don't even know you could touch them. Each blast of Psyshock does 830 damage at level 8, and Future Sight does 1500 damage total. So if you hit with multiple blasts of Psyshock, you are doing more damage. Your next option is Psychic or Moonblast at level 8. Psychic is going to hit a little harder than Moonblast, and it's going to leave an area of effect that decreases movement speed and continues to deal damage over time. Once it upgrades, it reduces this move's cooldown. Psychic is pretty strong, and you can see it moves from the direction you cast slightly, so it does help you chase people down a little bit. Moonblast attacks and moves you back slightly. It deals damage to the Pokemon, and it leaves one of the opposing Pokemon closest to you unable to act, so it stuns them briefly. Also, once it upgrades, it gives you a shield. Moonblast and Psychic's initial damage are actually the same, but the damage over time effect you get from Psychic does edge it out in the damage department. However, having a stun I think is invaluable. I greatly prefer Moonblast right now. Gardevoir's Unite move, Fairy Singularity, warps space in a designated area, drawing Pokemon in and then doing damage as it shoves them out. This move is incredibly useful for team fights, especially around big objectives. The only issue I have with it is you can actually kind of whiff this move completely. If you target this wrong and just happen to miss where the encounter is happening, all of a sudden you've wasted your Unite move. Hopefully you had a buddy barrier. I always do. When used correctly, this move is devastating. The only issue with it is every once in a while, it's going to do absolutely nothing. Gardevoir's passive is a fun one. When an opponent inflicts decreased movement speed or a damage over time condition on you, they get inflicted with the same thing. It's pretty cool. And Gardevoir's boosted attack decreases special defense and has a bit of an area effect, which is really nice. If you're able to hit someone with this attack and then one of your abilities, you're going to do more damage. And now it's everyone's favorite time of the video, battle items. Not your favorite time of the video because I recommend the perfect battle item, because the perfect battle item is often eject button, especially on a Pokemon like Gardevoir who has no natural escapes after they level. People actually like this part of the video because it's question time. Leave your answer in the comments. The question today, do you prefer Psychic or Fairy type? All right, back to the video. Oh, also, a lot of people are taking full heal now because of Gengar. I can't wait to see what they do with him. Held items, baby. I think Wise Glasses are a must for Gardevoir, no question. Shell Bell is also a very good call. It lowers cooldown and increases special attack, and of course recovers HP when you hit with a move. A very good item. Energy Amplifier is a fun one because it increases the damage you deal after you use your Unite move, and you're going to be spamming your attacks after you do that. It also increases the rate your Unite move gains. Buddy Barrier, one of my favorite items in the game. I think it's probably the best item for most Pokemon. Getting a shield and giving one to an ally when you use your Unite move can win a team fight. I think it's just so good. I think most Pokemon should run this item. Plus, it gives you HP. Depending on what you have leveled, here are another few options that I think are good. Focus Band is always nice to have on a Pokemon. In case someone dives on you, you have a chance of surviving it and regenerating a lot of HP. Special attack specs are also very good. You do have to score to make the most out of them, but this Pokemon relies on special attack, so it's not a bad idea. Another option is a Muscle Band. It's an item that I think a lot of people sleep on when it comes to special attackers. No, it doesn't give you the attack bonus, but its ability and basic attack speed help pretty much everyone, especially if you're fighting at range. Here's some footage for one of the builds that I think is very strong, running Future Sight and Moonblast. Also, you saw me call out where I was going. Something I'm working on is just calling out my location more often. Future Sight is so amazingly good, especially once you upgrade it and it casts every time you hit. I just hit that Pikachu and I can cast it again, stun him with Moonblast. It's a really incredible combination. Future Sight is so powerful, people don't expect how much life it is going to chunk off them, and you can get a ton of KOs with it. Gardevoir has a cool option with their Unite move, given that they're one of the only Pokemon that actually throws it out. If someone like Cramorant or Snorlax is laying there using their Unite, you can actually poke them with yours. You can see I nailed that Gardevoir in that bush, by the way, and also reset my Future Sight because of it. With the way Future Sight works with its cooldown, you should spend a lot of the battle quite a bit away from the enemy team, just blasting them over and over and over again with that Future Sight. Something also to note, while it does instantly refresh its cooldown after it's upgraded and you hit an enemy Pokemon, that doesn't apply to wild Pokemon. You can see in this moment, I know where the enemy team is going to be, so I can kind of just rain Future Sight down on them without even looking and constantly have its cooldown reset. Here's some footage of a Psyshock Psychic build. You can see that Psyshock just doing so much damage. You can actually just walk with it and take down Pokemon. Landing all 3 hits, it's quite a bit more damage than Future Sight, but then again, Future Sight can have its cooldown reset, so they're both pretty brutal. While the amount of damage you do with Psychic is nice, and I love an area effect, I just think the utility of having someone stunned is better with Moonblast. I wouldn't recommend Psychic in any build right now. Not at all bad, just not as useful. Here's an example of a particularly bad Unite move. I threw it down there thinking that the rest of the Pokemon were near the goal, but they weren't at all, and it was pretty useless. Nice job, Jake. If I had to pick between the two, I think my favorite right now is Psyshock and Moonblast. Just the crazy amount of damage you get out of Psyshock is pretty incredible. If I were to guess, I might say that Future Sight will be taken more in higher level play because of its cooldown reduction, but it does take a second to pop the ability, so you still do have to wait before casting it. The nice thing about Psyshock is you get to hit with a ton of damage right away, and if you land that Moonblast, you guarantee that you hit them. It's just such a good combo. Although I couldn't fault you for either one you take. I think it's incredibly powerful. Also, this works so good for just zoning people out, really punishing them for getting close to you. Oh, so good. They're both so good. You can see here that we're getting ready for the big team fight around Zapdos, and after we lock down their Gengar, I can just use my Psyshock and walk with this Ninetales. I'm just walking away with it. Of course, a good place to use any Unite move is when you're collapsing in on their base. You can usually get a few of them with it, but you've really got to be careful about aiming this Pokemon's Unite move. It's definitely the most difficult one to land. So there you have it, the best build guide for Gardevoir. I think Psyshock and Moonblast or Future Sight and Moonblast are very, very ideal. And I'd recommend picking this Pokemon up if you need an attacker like this in your arsenal. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for listening. I have more guides coming soon, and I will see you all next time. Mwah.